This is Newsmax TV. I'm Ashley Martella. We're pleased to be joined once again by Oklahoma Senator Jim Inhofe, the top Republican on the Senate Environment and Public Works Committee. Welcome back to Newsmax, Senator.
Oh, nice to be back with you, Ashley.
What did you think of President Obama's primetime speech on the oil spill?
You know, I think the same thing that everyone else thinks. I can't find anyone who thinks he did a good job. Even MSNBC, Rachel Maddow, and that crowd said there's just no leadership there. He didn't address the subject. And here he's having this big meeting today with the BP people, and this is after 53 days, I guess it's been, of doing nothing. He didn't offer any solutions. He wanted to talk about other things that weren't really related. I thought it was his worst moment.
Did it sound like he offered any solutions to the crisis?
No, he didn't. In fact, he was one of the interesting things, Ashley, is that he never used the term cap and trade. He never used the word climate, but he is still trying in vain to use the tragedy in the Gulf to have some kind of energy legislation that he can get into conference and end up with Waxman-Markey coming out of conference. Now, could I just expand on that a little bit?
Please, absolutely.
Oh, okay. His strategy is this. As I said the last time you and I talked, cap and trade is dead. It is dead. It's buried. It's gone. They don't have the votes, and I've been fighting this now for 8 years, and so we've clearly won that. However, he is still committed to the far left to have some kind of cap and trade. Well, right now, the only vehicle, of course, is the Kerry-Lieberman bill. Now, he's not going to do anything with that, but what he has announced, and he announced this partially on his speech last night, that when we come back from the 4th of July recess, he will, on the week of the 12th of July, have some type of an energy bill. It doesn't matter what it is, because when it passes, he'll put it into conference with the House-passed bill, which is the Waxman-Markey bill. So, and then he'll wait until after the November election in a lame duck session so that all those Democrats who in the Senate who will be defeated in November will be able to vote with him. That's his strategy right now, Ashley, and it's no longer a secret. We have suspected this is what he's going to be doing for a long time.
Do you think progressive liberal senators are using the oil spill as leverage to fabricate political support for cap and trade?
Oh, sure they are. You know, they did that, and we talked, maybe we didn't cover this before, but I was around during the Exxon Valdez, and I went up there on the scene, and at that time, that's when I saw, Ashley, a group of the far left environmentalists celebrating over this spill. And they're celebrating because they said, we're going to parlay this into stopping drilling on the North Slope. And I said, wait a minute, that was a transportation accident, not a drilling accident. And if you were stopping drilling up there, that means we have to have more transportation. And so the exposure is even greater. They said, we don't care, we're still going to do it. Well, I see that same mentality in the Gulf today. They're thinking they can take that tragedy, and I can assure you they're celebrating behind closed doors right now.
Yeah, in the words of Rahm Emanuel, never let a good crisis go to waste.
Well, he's right, and they're trying that, but it's not going to work.
If they do this in the lame duck session of Congress, as you mentioned, you'll still have your 41 votes, won't you?
Oh, yeah, we'd still have our 41 votes, and that's why I think it's not going to work. Now, they might think that we want, that would change. Their problem really isn't with the Republicans, it's with the Democrats. You see, we can't pass something. In fact, unless it is filibustered, we can't even stop that with just the 41 votes. But they think at that time they could probably have something up that would procedurally be a bare majority and hold all the Democrats together, and that would be enough. Now, keep in mind, the Democrats that would be voting are the Democrats, many of those who will be defeated just a matter of a few days before this vote would take place. That's the strategy.
It's kind of like a parting shot at the voters.
Oh, it is. You know, we don't care what you say. Well, I don't think the voters, maybe they do understand this, but the whole idea of an endangerment finding that we talked about way back in December is that these people are not going to pass it legislatively, so we don't care what you say. We're going to run over you with the EPA. Now, that's their strategy, and they're going to try to get by with it. I don't think it's going to work. Let's keep in mind right now, there are 14 lawsuits that are already filed against the endangerment finding. I know this is a complicated subject, but an endangerment finding says that if you can say that CO2 is an endangerment to public health, then we will put it in the Clean Air Bill along with real pollutants, SOx, NOx, and mercury. and treat it as if it's SOx, NOx, or mercury. And that's what their attempt to do is right now. The problem with that, and it's a serious problem for them, and that is that by their own admission, Lisa Jackson with the EPA admitted in a public forum in response to my question that the science on which the endangerment finding is based is the same science that gave rise to ClimateGate. It's all cooked science, something we've been saying now for 8 years. So I think that's a battle that we've won, and I don't think that I think the Republicans will have a majority and be able to stop this by the time they get by their lawsuits and can start really enforcing the endangerment.
Some House and Senate Republicans have introduced legislation to lift Obama's 6-month ban on new offshore oil drilling. What are the chances of passage?
Well, I don't think the chances are very good. Now, the chances in the House, they may be good. I don't know. I don't have a good read on the House. In the Senate, it'd be very difficult to do that, except you got to keep in mind, we would be able to say that this bill, this vote that took place when I defeated Sanders on the floor, we could say, how could you vote with me on that and not vote to lift the ban on drilling? You keep in mind the ban on drilling that he's talking about, he's saying is only for deep water drilling, but it covers all other drilling too, and the same effort would take place. And these legislative efforts would also lift the ban on public lands and some other areas. Let me say something that will shock even you, as well informed as you are. I believe in my heart that if we lifted all restrictions that are put on us to develop our own resources, that on the North American continent, that's Mexico, Canada, and us, we could be self-sufficient and not have to depend on the Middle East for 1 barrel of oil in 4 years. The problem we have is not that we don't have the energy here. We are, the CRS, that's the Congressional Research, that's bipartisan. They came and said that the United States has the largest reserves in gas, oil, and coal in the world. All we have to do is be able to develop our own resources. The Democrats won't let us do that. That's what it's all about in the House. I don't think they have the votes to do it when that comes to the Senate, but we'll do everything we can to try to get it done.
Senator, why do you think Obama refused to let some Dutch ships equipped with skimmers help in the oil spill cleanup?
Yeah, all I can say is I can't crawl into his mind. I can only say that he hasn't made a good decision yet on that whole cleanup. And so this is, I'm sure he has a reason in his own mind, but I have no idea. He should be looking and exploring on every resource. Of course, it's too late now. He should have been doing this 2 months ago and telling the American people and the entire world, we're going to resolve this and get it all together, provide some leadership and get it done. Remember the criticism that George Bush got during Katrina? And they said it was a lack of leadership. Let me tell you, that leadership looks pretty good right now. You know, this is the first time that he has had a real tough test, and he flunked his test. And, it's not just me. As you know, I'm still ranked as the most conservative member of the United States Senate by the National Journal and other groups. So people consider me to be a little extreme. It's not just me that is saying that he has provided no leadership. It's the far left. It's MSNBC. It's others out there that are saying, you're just not getting it done.
Yeah, Matthews and Olbermann hammered him pretty hard, I heard.
Yeah, I know it.
Yeah.
I think that made my day.
Yeah. Okay, and finally, if Republicans make big gains in November, do you foresee a new push for much safer drilling, as you were alluding to, like, for example, on Anwar?
And it's right down partisan lines. It's the Democrats that want to stop it. And the reason they do is the big financial givers to the Democratic Party are the MoveOn.org and George Soros and Michael Moore. They put millions of dollars in there, just like they put in at the last of Richard Pombo's race to defeat him. And that's why they have so much influence. Republicans, I believe, are going to take over the House and the Senate. I have in my pocket the states I think we're going to win. And when that happens, one of the first things that I will be doing is say, all right, let's go back and start exploiting the resources that we have in America so that we can be energy independent and quit worrying about all this green stuff that might come along 20 years from now or sometime in the future.
Oklahoma Senator Jim Inhofe, as always, it's a pleasure. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching Newsmax TV.